Dragon Quest XII is a game that doesn't exist yet, but it will exist at some point. And in anticipation of that game existing, I want to make a video of 5 things that I would like to see in the game, similar to my Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake video. The first point is being able to pick your gender / making your character, kind of. So the first game that allowed you to do this was DQ3, and then you could do it in 4, and then it just kind of disappeared for several games, and I believe it came back in 9, but I could be wrong. And I think it's about time that feature returned to the game. It's a simple thing that allows player freedom, which is a good thing in RPGs. Now, I've heard from a few different sources that Dragon Quest XII is aimed more for a Western audience, at least compared to like the other games in the series. And if that's the case, then I think that they should implement a character customization thing at the beginning of the game, because that's something that players here in the West like very much a lot. Which is something that did kind of happen in DQ9. And I don't expect them to go like full Skyrim, you know, being able to like morph your face and stuff at the beginning. But, you know, something. I think that would be nice. If it were to happen, it would definitely look like DQ9. I don't think they would put in the time to make a Skyrim-esque character face morpher. And I don't know how well that would work with Toriyama's art style. I think they would have to put like a lot of effort into that. And it's just for like the very beginning of the game, and I don't think they're willing to do that. Off the top of my head, I don't know any Japanese RPG that allows you to do that, so I don't think that's like a thing over there, really. I could be wrong, but I don't really see that happening, but, you know, something like DQ9, definitely possible, because it's happened in the past. Alright, point number 2, more dynamic combat. Now, here's a little misconception that you might have heard around the internet. People have been saying that DQ12 will not be turn-based. And that's just not true. It is going to be turn-based. It's just going to have like a spin on the traditional turn-based-ness. So yeah, it's going to be turn-based, guys. It's not going to be like an action RPG. A lot of people are saying that it might be that, but no, that's clearly not what they said when they announced the game. I don't know why people are confusing this fact. Unless I'm wrong. I don't speak Japanese, so I could be wrong.
We're going to change the command battle. We're gonna change it completely. It's gonna change? Yes. The command battle. That everybody's familiar with. But it's not like we're gonna get rid of commands. But we're gonna make some changes, and we have some prototypes. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna become very interesting.
Now, what I would like to see in this, you know, turn-based, but it's kind of different little direction that they might be going in, is having positioning actually matter. Now, in Dragon Quest XI, you could go into like this free roam mode. I don't actually remember what the name of the mode was, but you could like walk around the enemy in this like little circle thing. But it was just kind of like for show. It didn't really affect combat. I basically want it to affect combat now, because that's been a thing in several RPGs for several years now. Having a certain amount of like movements during your turn to get either closer or farther away from the enemy. And they haven't really done it in Dragon Quest, I don't think, in any of the Dragon Quest. So it's about time they do something like that, and I think it's probably like the most likely thing that's going to happen. I can't think of anything else that they would change from the turn-based combat system that is then have it still be turn-based, you know? Can't think of anything else. If you could think of something else that they would change that would still be turn-based, like, let me know. I literally can't think of anything. Also, again, if we're sticking to the trying to make DQ12 like a little more West-friendly, I think that would definitely help. Because unfortunately in the West, you know, turn-based combat, people kind of look at it like, oh, that's really antiquated. So adding that little element to it, I think would make players not really even like care that much about the fact that it's turn-based. Now maybe some people will say, oh, maybe they'll add a BTE meter like in Final Fantasy. I highly doubt they're just gonna like take that from Final Fantasy. They might, but I wouldn't put money on it. Would you put money on it? Let me know in the comments. Alright, thing number 3 that I think they should do would be kind of cool. A little more medieval aesthetic. In my notes I wrote a Lord of the Rings aesthetic. So here in the West, and I think in Japan as well, but definitely in the West, people really like the Lord of the Rings. They like the books, they like the movies, they like the games. It's all really cool. That aesthetic, people like it a lot. Fantasy, it's big fan here. So I think it'd be wise to like kind of take that aesthetic and put it into Dragon Quest XII. You can definitely do it while still keeping Toriyama's art style. I'm not saying like get rid of Toriyama and get somebody else in there and have him draw stuff like the original Dragon Warrior cover. I'm not saying like change it completely, just a little more, you know, traditional fantasy looking, you know. I mean, Elden Ring's real big now, people like that, so you know, just kind of like lean into that aesthetic just a little bit more. And if they were to adopt that Lord of the Rings aesthetic, it wouldn't be like the first time that Dragon Quest takes things from Lord of the Rings and kind of adapts it into their own thing. For example, in the second game, we got High Priest Hargon, which Hargon kind of sounds like Sauron, and Sauron was the High Priest of Melkor or Morgoth, which kind of sounds like Malroth. So, very similar there, so you know, it's not, there's history and kind of taking inspiration from Lord of the Rings in the Tolkien-esque world. Alright, point number 4. I'm just stealing this point from my last video. I want some sort of multiplayer. In the DQ3 video, I suggested that one player can control like 2 party members and the other player can control the other 2 simultaneously in battle, because that's like a simple way of being able to play multiplayer locally. Again, I think that should be implemented into DQ12. I believe they were going to do something like that in the very first game, so that would be a nice little callback to something that didn't actually happen. I think it's a real simple way to get more players into the game. It's just a simple way to get more interest in the game. If you have a friend who has the game, it's like, hey, come play this game with me, and you just hand them the controller, and you're both playing together. People playing together, that's how people play games. It's also like deeply rooted into RPGs. Playing with other people, yeah, it's a no-brainer. And last but not least, this is kind of like the joke one. This is the one that's like the least likely it's gonna happen, but I think it'd be cool. Number 5, metal music. Metal and RPGs and stuff like that go together rather well, and I would like to see that in DQ12, even though it's definitely not gonna happen. With Sugiyama passing away, you know, we're obviously not gonna get music, original music composed by him at least, unless he had already composed it before his passing, which maybe that happened, I don't know. But if that didn't happen, then that would be a good time to bring in some metal music, or at the very least like metal inspired, you know. And I'm not saying you gotta like, you know what I mean. And if you're like, oh, but what do you mean, this RPGs and metal, they don't mix together, that sucks, what do you mean? Well, check this out, man. Tell me this doesn't look amazing. Yeah, that looked cool. Didn't that look amazing? That was epic. And if you're still like, yeah, but I want it to like still sound like Dragon Quest, well, check out this cover by this guy. I'm not playing the whole thing because I want you to go actually watch this video. Go watch this video. Tell him I sent him. Tell him I sent you guys over there. It could work. It could work. Will it happen? Probably not. I wouldn't bet on it. And when it doesn't happen, whatever. Alright, so those were the 5 things I'd like to see in DQ12. We know pretty much nothing about the game at this point, so it's kind of hard to make like an in-depth video about the game because all we know is the title and a handful of other stuff that I mentioned during this video. So yeah, as soon as we know more stuff, as soon as they like release another trailer or something, maybe I'll react to that. I'll talk about that. Who knows? Bada bing, bada boom. We get information about Dragon Quest III remake. Then I'll talk about that too. Whatever comes first. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Do you hate metal music, or are you like a total like Black Sabbath fanboy? Let me know in the comments.